Hey everybody, welcome back to Discover SPRINGFORD. I'm standing in front of K-9 Cottage, located on Ridge Pike in Limerick Township. Inside, I'm going to be talking with owner Alison VonCzoernig about how she went from being a teacher who loved animals to being a teacher of animals and using that love of teaching to teach humans about how to interact with animals. The best part of this episode? Puppies. I'm Geoff, a local realtor, aspiring actor, and transplant to the Springford area. And I'm on a mission to find the best that Springford has to offer. I'll be interviewing local business owners, civil servants, and other prominent members of the community to find out what makes Springford a great place to live, work, eat, and explore. I invite you to join me on my journey as I discover Springford.
I was born in New Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl at heart.
Oh, wow.
So,
This is quite a ways.
yes. Well, my father was transferred when I was a kid, and we moved out to Pennsylvania. Grew up down on the main line.
Oh, really? Where?
In Wayne.
Okay.
More Stratford, I guess. Yeah. And I went to Tredyffrin Easttown schools. For high school, I went to a small private school called Woodland.
It's a very good school district.
Yeah, Tredyffrin is great. Tredyffrin is great now.
Yeah. Springford's catching up, though.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are, actually. After high school, I went to Cedar Crest College up in Allentown.
What did you study?
I studied English and education.
Oh. My wife's a teacher, and she actually grew up in that area. She grew up in Easton, so.
Okay. Yep. Well, I left there knowing that I wanted to be a teacher. And my first teaching experience was with 2-year-olds.
Okay.
And wasn't quite sure I wanted to be a teacher anymore because I was only 22 and had the diapers and all that kind of stuff.
That's a hard place to start for sure.
Yeah, it's there wasn't a whole lot of teaching going on at that point. Nowadays, the curriculums are completely different.
Yeah.
So I went to Villanova at that point and got my master's degree. And master's degree plus, I have extra credits towards a doctorate. But I lost interest in education after about 17 years. I worked down on the main line in 2 private schools, and my love for animals just kept growing.
Yeah.
And my husband at the time and we bred a litter of Chinese Shar-Peis, and I was just intrigued, the whole thing, and went to an obedience school, and I just hated the way that they were doing everything.
Yeah.
So I was lucky enough when I was ready to change careers, I was an at-home mom, and I got into a position that I was training my first American Bulldog with these guys down in King of Prussia. And there, they asked if I'd be willing to do a children's education program.
Really?
And so I wrote a story about how to meet a new dog.
Oh, so it's educating children on how to interact with animals.
Yes, on how to meet a new dog.
Yeah.
So in hopes that we could limit the number of bites that the kids are getting. Last year there were 4.5 million dog bites.
Oh my word!
So there's still a lot of people I have to teach.
Yeah.
But,
and you have the background for it. No.
And I do. I have the background, and it was just supposed to be a little part-time thing, and myself and my American Bulldog, we ended up meeting at about 6,000 or 7,000 kids the first year. Because it just took off. It was a free program.
Oh yeah.
And the schools were loving it.
Yeah.
So I at that point joined the staff, and I learned the art and business of dog obedience training and doggy daycare. I left that group and went down to Skippack Animal Hospital.
Oh, okay.
And started their doggy daycare for them. After about 18 months, I moved on, and I went to get some extra background in training learning some other ways to train out in Malvern. And then I came here.
Wow.
And so it's been an odd journey, but I'm lucky enough that I can take my love of animals with my education.
Yeah, that's really cool.
You know, and put it all together. I'm not a corporate America person, you know, buying a franchise because I love dogs.
Yeah.
You know, I've built this from the ground up.
Yeah.
So,
So when was it that you went from, so before you were here, was Skipback Animal Hospital? Or
no,
there
I was
somewhere
down in
between?
Malvern.
Down in
Yeah.
Malvern, okay. So, and that was working for somebody else?
Yes.
And then you decided, I'm going to do this on my own?
Yeah, when I was at Skippack and I was realizing, you know, I just keep working so hard for other people. What am I doing?
Yeah, right.
If I'm going to work a 12-hour day, I should be working a 12-hour day for myself.
Yeah.
And I was able to get an investor, and we went from there.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that fascinates me as someone who's now, you know, self-employed and meeting all of these business owners, is that the idea of building, I want to build my business, not someone else's.
Exactly.
And that's how I always felt too. And that's why I recently switched real estate brokers, even, because I felt like there was just too much, I was losing too much for the work that I was putting in to give somebody else, you know, a cut of it, you know.
Puts food on someone else's table.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yes.
it's, you know, it works for a lot of people. They need that structure, that support. And I didn't realize that I was entrepreneurial. I mean, I always was starting endeavors, even as a kid. But I guess I just didn't know, I didn't have a framework or like a perspective on how that works in the real world. And it wasn't necessarily cultivated. So I kind of I hit 30 and was like, oh, like there's this whole other world out here of me pursuing things on my own. So it's encouraging to hear that you cut your teeth, essentially, no pun intended, or your fangs, on, you know, working in the business, learning it from the ground up, so that you could then put your own spin on it using your educational background. So that's really cool, and I think it's interesting how, you know, our journeys take us to where we are.
Absolutely.
You know, and even though it's interesting how, like, in the moment it might feel like you're making a far left or a huge swerve to the right, and then you go back and look at the path and you're like, oh, okay, well, I learned this in this experience that applies to me now. I learned this in this experience. That's really cool because I would imagine that just like people, animals learn differently.
Yes.
You can't just like assume that one animal is going to follow this. Like you had said, you had to learn different ways to train an animal, which I think probably is lost on some people.
Yes.
Because they don't realize that there's a unique personality in each dog, you know.
And it's not just a unique way to teach each animal. It's a unique way to teach each owner.
Right.
Because a dog can be trained.
As well.
Yeah, a dog can be trained probably by a professional in 4 hours.
Wow.
You know, to be 100%. But sometimes you run into an owner who doesn't want to do exactly what you're saying. And, you know, well, I trained my dogs before and I didn't do it that way. You know, I want to, and so you have to find a happy medium sometimes.
Yeah, everybody's their own genius. You know?
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, I find that interesting because you know, it's very much like even in school and with children is if what's being taught is not being reinforced in the home, that it's like you're relearning it over and over again. Anyway,
yes.
So it's the same with dog behavior. And,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, if you go home after our lessons on Saturday and you don't practice anything all week, don't bother coming the next week.
Right.
Because your dog's not going to do it.
And stuff.
Exactly.
You can apply it across the board on
exactly.
things. Yeah.
So, you know, you can't expect the dog to just learn it by osmosis.
Right.
I didn't learn my multiplication facts by osmosis, you know,
right.
So.
You just slept with the book under your pillow and it was there.
Yeah,
head, right?
You know, I just woke up. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Kids would be loving it.
Yeah.
So.
So, what is your history personally with animals? What types of animals have you raised and do you currently have?
Well, I have, when I was younger, as a child, I worked to be able to pay for my own horseback riding lessons.
Oh, cool.
I really wanted to do it, and it was just not something with a brother and a sister.
That's a huge financial commitment.
Commitment. So I worked to pay for part of it. So I was cleaning stalls and all that kind of stuff at age 11,
Wow.
you know. And then it's always been dogs. You know, I had that first litter of Chinese Shar-Peis. Then I moved to the Bulldogs. And the guys that I was training with in King of Prussia, they raised American Bulldogs. So I got the best ones ever.
Yeah.
And, you know, at one point, we had 2 litters at the same time, and I had 26 dogs living in my house.
Oh my word.
and 2 children. So the children kind of felt disowned for a couple weeks. But, yeah, so that was probably the silliest thing I've ever done in this
Yeah, I can't even
career.
imagine what.
Yeah, because they were a week apart.
Oh my gosh.
So, and then I ended up that I had 9
Okay.
Bulldogs. And, you know, through the years, unfortunately, they've left me.
Yeah.
And I'm just, at this point, down to 1 English Bulldog.
Wow.
And it's very quiet in my house.
Yeah, I can imagine. And is it a male, female?
She's a female, and she's like our mascot here.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that she stays quiet for the
Yeah.
rest of our talk
Yeah.
because everyone here loves it because she makes these horrible, horrible dying pterodactyl noises. And you know when she's unhappy.
Oh, okay.
So, but
That's really funny.
so
So tell me a little bit about the daily operations and how K-9 Cottage serves the community.
okay, I am very lucky. I have a wonderful team here. The women that I have hired are 150% behind everything that we do. I donate regularly throughout the township. You know, whenever the township is having an event, I happily sponsor it. For the past, this will be my 4th year, even though I wasn't open the first one. I purchase all of the turkeys that they need for the turkey bowl at
wow.
at the Limerick Bowl on Thanksgiving, and I donate those.
Wow.
We have many events through the year that we encourage the community to come to. We have one in October that this will be airing after,
Yeah.
but we're having a Beastival,
Okay.
which is just a festival of the dog,
Oh, wow.
and it's a Hindu tradition. My minister's coming to bless the hounds
Yeah.
and all kinds of fun stuff, but you know we'll do something similar to that again in 2018.
Okay. Yeah,
you
I
know,
was going to ask if
but
it's going to become something regular.
we hope so.
Yeah.
You know, we hope so. We've got a whole bunch of vendors coming, you know, and things like that. So
That's really fantastic.
yeah, it's, you know, we have a client here, and we're really more of a family. I don't even like
Yeah.
the word client, but we
Yeah.
have a family member here who was diagnosed with cancer,
Oh.
and she is also self-employed. So as self-employed, our insurances aren't always that
Right.
great.
Yeah, I can
So-
attest to that.
So, you know, so we're doing a lot of fundraising to help her.
Oh, that's fantastic.
You know, and it's amazing what your bills can add up to.
Yeah, it's insane. Absolutely insane.
So
Even if you just like cut your finger,
yeah,
you look at the, $50 for Tylenol at the emergency room or whatever.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
I could have just stopped at the drugground on my way.
yes,
It's
yes,
crazy. That's a whole other conversation for another show, but
yeah. I think you should go to a pharmacist.
yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, man. Can of worms everywhere,
Yeah.
which you don't sell here.
No, no.
So, what do you got? What are the things that you offer from a business perspective, so that if anybody was interested in your services, they would know where to come and what for? So,
We offer obedience training on weekends. I offer it in a class, in semi-private or in private, which most places don't want to do all 3 because it takes up too much time.
right, yeah, that's a huge. And semi-private is
Two people.
2 people. Okay.
Yep. Or if you have 2 dogs.
Okay.
We have Monday through Friday doggy daycare, which I have to point out is actually happening right now.
Right.
And we're sitting here talking, and there's 25 dogs up in the other half of the building,
Insane.
and there's no noise.
I think I've heard one sound since I even walked in And they didn't start barking when I walked in, which is insane, because usually, you know, you would think that a stranger coming in that would get everybody, but they obviously are very well trained and well behaved.
Yes, yes. And then we sell the Virus dog food line, and it's a holistic brand, but it's all human grade ingredients. And what I like about it is it's comparable to so many of those expensive brands out there, but its cost isn't nearly what the others are.
Yeah.
And to me, I like to be able to offer people a great food that may not be able to afford the $85, $90 bag of dog food that their vet wants them to be using.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, that's that's fantastic, because the assumption always is the higher the quality, the through the roof you're going to pay for it.
Right.
You know, and the fact that there are alternatives out there that are equal quality and won't make people go bankrupt having a pet. You know, that's,
believe me, yeah.
That's huge. So, you know, I personally, I love dogs. I'm allergic to them, but I have
You're
to
doing
say
pretty well then.
I'm doing great. I have cats, and I am a cat person as well. Like, I'm not one or the other.
Okay.
Some people are only cats, only dogs.
I am one.
I know. But I will say, and it's just, I don't know if it's because of the ownership that we've, you know, our cats are all boys, and they are like dogs in their behavior. Mm-hmm. They fetch, they roll over.
Wow.
They hang out with us. They are not the typical, stereotypical standoffish cat. And I think it's because we've always been very, you know, affectionate. And we taught our kids, my kids' first words, both of them was gentle. Because we would always say that anytime when they were babies, they would go for the animal. They would say, so that both of them, that was the first, they would say, gentle. That was,
you know,
so
and that's funny.
That's a very cool thing to, you know, when people come over to our house anyway, they're all three cats are huge. Like they probably have Maine Coon in there somewhere in their lineage, but people audibly go, "Oh, your cat is enormous," and not like fat. Like they look like mini panthers or tigers.
Yep.
But they just hang out with you. Like they're
that's
not.
Nice.
They're not like.
They're not hiding.
Yeah, they're not. They don't scare and go crazy. They'll be right there. And they play with you, and they're always letting you rub, exposing their belly to you, which is a sign of trust and stuff. So we lucked out, and we got some fun cats, not cats that feel like we should be privileged to be in their presence, which is the stereotype of a cat. But so go ahead, you were going to say something, I think.
No.
Okay.
Both of my girls' first words, one was dog.
Yeah.
And the other was Blackie, which was the name of our dog.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah.
That's really funny. So why don't you tell people how they can get in touch with you?
Okay.
For the business.
Can I do one thing first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
In 2018, I hope to be making a huge presence in the community. I'm starting a new product that's called No Touch Dog. Unfortunately, in my career, I come across dogs all the time who are not good with people. And again, I'm going back to that 4.5 million dog bites.
Right.
And it's something very simple, but it's a scarf that you put around the dog's neck, and it just has the no symbol on it. And it's so that if you're walking your dog, it tells people, do not approach this dog.
Right.
I do not want you to touch my dog. Now, I've had people who have bought it because when they take their dog for a walk, they don't want to be bothered talking to people. They talk to people all day long at work, and they want it to be their quiet time. Well, it also, they've used it for that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So as the new year progresses, and the weather, of course, will start getting nice again in March and April, I'm hoping that people will be seeing these out and about really cool. In the, like in the parks where we walk, because it's something that the dog bites, something has to change.
Right.
Yeah,
and for someone like me, completely ignorant of those statistics, completely, assuming as most people do, like, oh, a dog, like you don't think about the fact that some dogs are either by nature not good with interaction, mm-hmm. or they're rescued and they've been, been in situations that are terrible, so they are skittish or defensive.
People make mistakes all the time,
Right.
and it's just something that, someone's got to get on top of it.
Right.
So it's
Why
going
not
to be
you?
me.
Yeah, right.
I want to see Pottstown and Limerick and Royersford's dog bite numbers go down.
Yeah.
So.
That's a really cool idea. So when you see these purple flags or bandanas around the dogs, you know what it means. Do not approach the dog.
Leave them alone.
Or else you're gonna be me, and I'll have like a big bandage around my head. I saw the sign. I didn't take it serious.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. So, will you be also doing other? Will that start to be incorporated more into the business here, as far as
yes.
Regular training events or something like that, just to explain what the goal of No Touch Dog is?
We'll be having, I know that we had one, we were talking about one in March, having a No Touch Dog open house. So what I would say is, anybody out there, like our Facebook pages, we're K-9 Cottage, PA, and A+ Obedience, both on Facebook. And we will be posting all of those things there regularly, so that as a new training class gets started, it gets posted.
Right.
As, the open houses get started, it'll be posted.
That's great.
So
as we wrap up, I like to ask this question. What are some of the things, or maybe one thing in particular, that you really hold close to your heart as you operate a business, as you interact with people from all walks of life and animals of all different dispositions? What are some of those guiding lights that you use to get you through the day and to build your business, and then also to get buy-in from your employees? Because obviously there's like a singular vision that you have. Would you like to share a little bit about that as we wrap up?
I think that I don't really have a mantra.
Yeah.
But I think that the one thing, I have a couple clients who I'm very, very good friends with, and they've followed me for the last 10 years. And I think that probably one of the things that got me to here and open was their support. Just saying, why do you think you can't do it?
Yeah.
You got this. So that's kind of, I got this.
Yeah.
I got this. The other thing is, and this is kind of abstract, but that's okay. I was an English major. Robert Frost is probably my favorite poet, and he wrote a poem about the two paths, and I took the path less traveled, and it's made all the difference.
Yeah.
I'm a happy person. I'm getting to do what I love every day, and almost every day.
Yeah.
I can't lie.
Yeah, everybody has a day.
You always have a day
Yeah.
here and there, but and take that road less traveled. Don't be afraid.
Right.
Just take it.
That's
take a
fantastic.
chance.
Yeah, and I think that's something that you probably, it helps people when they're trying to figure out what was I made to do? What is my purpose? Oftentimes it's you marry the things that are you're interested in. And if there's a business idea there, I mean, for you, it was a love for animals and a love to teaching animals. I mean, it obviously in hindsight, it seems simple, but when you're trying, no one tells you, when you're growing up, when you're 5 or 6 years old, I'm going to teach animals and teach humans how to interact with animals. You just don't see that on the list of astronaut, lawyer, doctor, and that's the same way. I always say, if somebody told me 5-10 years ago, you're going to work in real estate while also pursuing acting and create an online, I'd be like, what are you I have no idea what you're talking about. But basically it comes down to my interests are media, theater, people. So it's a marriage of all those things. So it's always interesting to see how those things come out on the other end. It's like the Play-Doh Fun Factory sometimes. You're like, what comes out on the other side? But I think you have something really cool here. And if I did have dogs, I would definitely bring them.
Well, and I appreciate
and I won't
that.
bring my cats because that might set the dogs off.
but I will say, you make sure, Geoff, you take that road less traveled. Because it will make all the difference.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. And I have to remind myself of that every day.
Yep.
So that's what I like you, I was in corporate America was not for me, and I started to really learn that. So this is part of the road less traveled, especially the acting part that I pursue pretty forcefully. So I'm definitely doing this is a way for me to still provide for my family while pursuing that road less traveled, which is also always the scariest part. There are ways to do it. You just need to be willing to put in the work and the time and work those 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. hours sometimes, you know, that they always talk about.
Or the 12-hour days.
Yeah, the 12-hour days, you know, finding time, even if it's your side hustle or whatever, to build something that you really care about in the midst of your day. So, you know, kudos to you for being able to find the thing that you love and make it into how you spend your time and support yourself, because that's an amazing thing. So thank you so much for your time, Alison. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and we're really excited. I know I'm really excited to see these on the dogs, because I'll be like, I know that. You know, I was there when it was when she was talking about it before it was officially rolled out. So
you can tell your kids, you know, hey, look, that means leave the dog.
Right. You know? Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
That's all the time we have for today on Discover Springford. I want to thank you for watching, and I also want to thank Alison for giving me some time to highlight her business today. Keep an eye out for those purple no-touch dog bandanas in the coming year. It's for your own safety and for the dog's safety as well. Don't say we didn't warn you. Until next time, grab your favorite furry creature and get out there and discover what makes Springford a great place to live, work, bark, and explore. Pike in Limerick Township. Inside, puppies. But seriously, she was a teacher in a past life, and being a teacher who loved animals, but I get to look at puppies. I also want to thank Alison for taking some time aside. And I also want to remind you to keep an eye out for those no-touch dog bandanas. Come on. Until next time, get out there and discuss. Keep an eye out for those no-touch dog bandanas. Don't say we didn't warn you. I'm sure there are quite a few pregnant ladies out there who would like to wear some t-shirts that say no touch. Some animals may not want you to touch them. I'm one of them.